Greetings, everyone. This is live, and this is right off the cuff. I'm not going to be reading anything. Just going to talk about what's really happening. All right, I want to start with, there's a wording called the Ring of Fire. It's all land and water between Russia, Japan, down to Australia, to Alaska, to the whole west coast of the United States and South America. Well, I've been watching the Ring of Fire for at least 15 years, daily. I pulled up all the records back to the 1900s. The earthquake chart has been growing incredibly daily. And by that I mean, it started, it used to be maybe 20, 2.1, 1.1, 2.5s. And then over the years, it went to 3.2, 3.4, 3.6. But over the past 2 years, they have escalated from the average of 2.3 to 4.9, 5.2, 5.6. And in between that, it started growing into the bigger ones that are happening. Well, the big ones that are happening are between 5 and 7.4 in the past 6 months. I actually said at least 2 months before they happened that we will have them. So I was right about the past 3 big ones we had. Now, Australia just had a big one today. And they don't even show that on the earthquake chart. And they put it up today because it was really big, and they just had another one 5 seconds ago. Along with California had a few, and so did Alaska. So there's something going on, which nobody's talking about in any great level. What it means, what's causing it. There's a couple different ways we can go with that. One is Tesla created an earthquake machine for real in the 1900s. He almost leveled a square block in New York City. They had to break in and shut his machine off. The second thing is, all right, we're fracking. If you know what fracking is or don't, look it up. Geothermal plants are very similar in a lot of ways. Look them up. Chemtrails are extremely dangerous. Check that out. If you don't, they are all real subjects to think about that are affecting the planet in a very, very bad way. Excuse me, I'm not here to make this up. And I'm not trying to do anything except tell you the truth. That's all I can do. I'm not a liar. I just listened to one of the most famous writers saying, he's a liar. He lies to people, but he claims to talk to God. So does that fit together? I doubt it. But getting back to this earthquake chart. Now, when there's a 6 and a 7, it affects the earth and the movement of the earth. It actually makes the planet shift and things like that. So they don't tell you how much it shifts because the last big earthquake that hit Tibet moved the planet again. Take something and take a, if you could do this with like a little ball, and stick a metal ball inside it and shake it and then put it on the ground, you're going to see it roll because of the weight of the effect of the ball inside it. But when you have an earthquake pulling on a planet, which what happens, it becomes really dangerous and scary. So now, there's so many things to think about while we're thinking about what's really happening. All right, why is it happening? Well, I know people don't want to believe in God. Oh, God has laws. They don't want to believe in morals. People don't have morals anymore. All right, religions are slowly being squashed. Sure, there's still billions of people in Christianity and Muslims and things like that. But they're slowly drifting into the New Age world, what I call it, meaning believing in the universe as a God instead of a God. A force, an energy. Well, everything has a force and an energy, including your soul. But you're still individualized, you still have an awareness. and you're still in the place of creating on this planet. So people that talk about a religion they have very little understanding about. Christianity is a rather new religion compared to all the other ones. But if you search them out, and people say, well, dear God, this God. Hinduism dealt with deities. They did call them gods. I call them little gods because they're not God. They have a role because they have power and they do things to the planet and people. So at that stage, anybody that can do that without super weapons is a god to most people. Even psychic abilities make people more of a god than not. Considering most people on this planet have such a small amount of psychic abilities. The top psychic on the planet, the top healer on the planet. And then again, how real is it? How important is it? I can go into that, but I might not do it today. I'm going to be doing a workshop. I'm going to try to give people the total foundation of what I learned to be true. From why we came here, why we stay here, where we go when we leave. And those are the only questions you need to know about life. Not about a better job, bigger house, bigger car, how many children you should have. All those things are secondary to living on this planet. What kind of food you're going to eat, what are you going to like, what are you going to dislike. It has nothing to do with what you're going to take when your body dies. You're not going to have ice cream and all the things that you think you like here when you leave this physical body. Because the physical body doesn't really need to eat. All right, so let's go beyond that. What are we doing with our lives? Nothing important. Well, most people aren't. Well, I created this or I created that. Man only creates toys. T-O-Y-S, toys. They don't create spiritual truth. They don't create spiritual wisdom. Now, I will debate anyone on the word spiritual because very few people have the slightest inkling of what it really means. If you mention religion, does it make it spiritual? If you follow a religion, does that make you spiritual? Of course not. And what is a spiritual person? There are none. Be realistic. Who is spiritual on planet Earth? The Pope? People say people in power, that it was given that power by people accepting them as a powerful being. Does the Pope have psychic abilities and abilities to levitate, move things and anything? Does the Dalai Lama? Does people like Oprah have that kind of power? Of course not. Now, people out there speaking like they have power, Donald Walsh, Conversation with God. Danny Brinkley wrote a book, Saved by the Light. Now, his story is different than talking to God. So you have to listen to these people telling these stories and what do they mean to our reality. I should get closer to the middle, but I'm trying to stay closer to the microphone, sorry. So listen to them. Listen to what they say. They might make you feel good. The problem with feeling good is it's usually a lie. You have sex, you feel good for a while, and then it ends. Then what? Tired, go to sleep, take a shower, whatever. It has nothing to do with continuing the feelings. It's not increasing the feelings after it's over. And there is after it's over. So what do we want in this lifetime? Men seek cheap thrills, and that's all. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, boxing, wrestling, jumping out of a plane, jumping on a bungee cord, jumping on a cliff, off a cliff into a small pool of water, whatever. It has nothing to do with the word spiritual. Religionists that teach religion teach a programmed idea of a belief system that was twisted many times by man. So people blame religion. Now, I say, take any religion and see where the truth changed. And it usually changed when they don't accept the Ten Commandments in Christianity or any other religion, the Jewish religion. Now, I'm going to give you a short, quick history of Moses. I'm sure you watched the movie. Parts of it were true, how he was born, how he was hidden so he didn't get killed and things like that. But the truth is, I call him the best, greatest black magician to live on this planet. Now, the difference between black magician and a white magician is killing. A white magician doesn't kill anything. A black magician does. Moses claimed to talk to God, wrote the 10 Commandments. He really had 20. He took down 10, smashed the other 10 before he even got down. When he got down, he brought these commandments to these people. He didn't like the people that were there, so he had them killed. He had 3,000 people killed. The number's probably twisted. It probably was a lot more. But he called them demons. So you can't kill people, but you can kill people if you call them a demon. And that's what they did with the witches in Salem and every other part of the world, that when they had witches that were not accepted, which it is now. So, but Moses came out, and then what did he do? Free his people. His people? Where did he free them from to? Slavery into what? Killing? You have to look at the facts, which is in the Bible, if you believe the Bible. Or you have to realize a lot of our reality is based on Moses. Sodom and Gomorrah, Adam and Eve, all those stories of the Old Testament. All right. Most of the Bible is written by Moses, the Old Testament, at least a third of it. And even in that, he had to create 613 laws for his people to live by, which were unlivable. You couldn't live under those laws. So why was he forsaken in the Bible and all those things? There's a lot of reasons that man that read the Bible and say they know the Bible don't understand. Because they're not aware of anything that happened in past history. I'm aware of all my lives, back to Atlantis, after, and from then on, all the way up to Jesus to now. So I can tell you, in all my lifetimes, which were many, Native a couple times, Buddhist a couple once that I know, and then just about every other thing, every other spiritual wording, religious wording of a kind of person. And only two of them were important to me in my awareness now, because we go through life assuming we attain and become aware of things. We learn. What does the average person learn that's beneficial to soul? The soul being what you are when your body dies. What is beneficial? Think about it. Write it down on a piece of paper, what you think is beneficial to you. You're not going to be able to put anything down on it because you're going to say a lot of junk, but how much of it is really important? How to repair a car, how to build a house, how to flush the toilet, how to bake a cake. When your body dies, you think any of those things are going to help you? Including money. Money can't go with you either. Clothes, diamonds, and all that. You can't take any of it with you. So why do people give it so much faith and truth and belief and all those kind of words when it pertains to nothing we learn about spiritualism? Oh, but that's spiritual. What's spiritual? Giving a homeless person $10? Give him $50. Does that make you spiritual? Makes your conscious feel like you're spiritual. Well, I gave him $50. I just listened to Donna Walsh, and he goes, well, I like to give people money now. Whenever I have in my pocket and I see a homeless person, I give it to him. I guess he doesn't keep lots of money on him. Because if he carried millions of dollars in his pocket, if he could, he would give it away. I doubt it. Because he could give it without walking the streets to give it to the homeless people. He would give it to some place where it would be useful. Now, learning right from wrong. And some people say there's no right and wrong. Lots of beliefs believe there's no right and wrong. It is what it is. It is what we create. And we're not creating anything good. We're not creating anything spiritual. Is it all our fault? It's programmed from parents, your parents, for one, to religion that you study or follow or forced to follow, or lack of religion that you're forced to follow or not follow. So there's all these little things that keep you from being who and what you are, knowing what that is. All right. Uh, we can go into that, but I'm not going to go into the details because I want to try to make this a little bit shorter than longer today. But as a being in this body, it's only going to be in it. I might have a couple years left. Some people might have 25 years. Some people might have 50 years left. But you're not going to get to an age of 125, no matter what you eat, no matter what you do for exercise, play. Sure, mankind wants to change that. But you have to think, why would God set up a certain time frame for a person to die no matter what? Well, mankind doesn't like any of God's rules. I mean, some subconscious ideas inside people know what God likes and believes, and the concept that God loves everybody. Do you think God loves you? Oh, he loves everybody. Who said that? God? And if you talk to a God that tells you that, they're lying. Because if God loves a massive killer, rapist, abuser, what kind of God do you deal with? A sick, perverted, twisted God who probably is not a God, it's probably a deity. Or a demon or the devil. Oh, I don't believe in the devil, but I believe in angels. I mean, we have twisted societies with twisted belief systems. And sadly, they're all playing with serious weapons. So to believe that we have no right and wrong, well, if you make a neutron bomb, hydrogen bomb, guess what? It could destroy part of the planet or the whole planet. So is that right or wrong? You have the right to play God? Or, well, people think they do. People think they have the right to be God. Dropping a bomb on a country is being God. Taking out people is playing God. We don't have that right as soul. The body has the ability to do whatever it wants without the conscious awareness of soul. So as we play this game of life, it's called the Matrix because we get in it and we don't look to get out of it. Now, we have so many people claiming they work with angels, they work with God, they work with deities. I mean, I did. But here's the thing. I wasn't being shown how to change this physical reality because you can't. For a word, I call it hell. Oh, we go to hell if we're bad. Well, why do you think people are so bad here? Because they're good people? You think in a good space there should be a lot of, well, it's the law of balance. Well, my philosophy on balance is you can make anybody on this planet actually hate you. All right? But you can't make anybody, force anybody to love you. That's one of the most important scenarios that exists on planet Earth. I mean, men try to make women love them. Women try to make men love them. But that doesn't happen. But it's so easy to make them turn away and run away from you. Call them a curse, say something bad. I mean, it's real easy. So there's no balance in that. And that's one of the most important words on this planet. How's that? So to say we're in balance is a delusional idea. To say we're living in heaven is delusional. Because everything you do, smoking, drinking, drugs, jumping out of planes without a parachute, open for as long as you can, and things where you put your life on the line, it has nothing to do with spiritual, has nothing to do with God. To think you become one with the universe if you die, that's your choice. If that's what you want, I don't know why you would want to. The thing is, right now, we have limited time to change anything that's going to happen to this world. Time clock's ticking and it's almost out. The idea of robots taking over the planet, it's going to happen. It's not when. I mean, it's when, not if. It is when it's going to happen. And I'm saying it probably will be somewhere between 10 and 20 years. I don't think we can make it much further than that without completely rearranging the planet. Every 10 years, we take a giant leap. What the government does is actually hidden from us, all the little things and big things that they do. So I don't know what happened to my camera, but all right. What my next step is, I want you to think why you're here. Right? Get a paper and pencil out and say, what is God first, and why am I here? And then after you fill in all those answers, you put, where am I going when I die? Then you could say, what am I going to do? They're probably the only questions you need to know. Nothing else is going to change anything or make anything better or worse or whatever. But if you know those things, it'll be so much easier to do what you're doing. I got to put my glasses on. Somebody put something in there. Future timeline, I don't go into the future. I know the present, and I know where I'm going to go when I die, but future means it's going to be different because I'm not going to have this body. I'm going to be in a higher dimension, higher realm, which will be incredible. Person I was in Atlantis, we were all spiritual people. The word spiritual, to me, is living in awareness of God, living under respect, honor, morals, all those words built into the one word, being true to yourself and true to God. Nothing else. You don't have to kill animals. You don't have to beat people up, and all those things didn't exist there anyway. You didn't have to talk because we were all aware at a higher conscious level. But that was taken away. The bodies were much more refined, and the bodies got contaminated over time, and we came down with sickness, disease, and all those things because of our consciousness. But then when certain races came here, I mean, in my first second, third, fourth, fifth incarnations, I wasn't a pleasant person, but I was a religious person. I stayed within religions because inside, after I left Atlantis, I wasn't aware. You don't just become aware because you die, but in all your lifetimes afterwards, you sense things. Soul has awareness of everything it goes through in its life. How much it holds on to that is depending on a person's awareness, and that usually never follows the person's soul. When you die, everything you just did is just washed away. You reincarnate and you start all over. Children now are becoming much more aware of their past life. I know I can't think of what path it was, a path in California where the guru, whatever word you use, tells everybody their past life. Well, I think that's an invasion because nobody could really tell what your past life was except you, because you'd have to believe it and understand it and accept it. If I told you were Superman in another lifetime, a deity in another lifetime, it wouldn't matter. Unless you could experience and know it, it's not true. The same as learning to leave your body, what it is. When you leave it, you understand what soul is, but if you don't go through that process, you don't know what it is. There's no way you can perceive what soul is if you're in this physical body with this thing in here called mind. All right? I'm not this happiest person you're going to listen to ever. I tell the truth the way it is, what I perceive it to be. And all I can say to you is by practice certain things and doing certain things, it'll help you perceive that truth for yourself. You might not look at it the same way as I did, but if you can see your past lives, you can step out of your body and see yourself as soul, you will understand 1,000 times more than you do right now. Without that, you don't understand 1,000 times more than you do right now. You're still holding on to the idea, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I want to have a child. Why? Because you're told to have, men have always been told to have children to keep their name going. They sacrifice children and women for power. They know that they have more power than men do. Spiritual energy, for a word. But if you're not aware of it, it's not really important. If you're not aware of God, God doesn't mean anything to you. You're not going to understand and do what it needs you to want and wants you to do, or what you would want to do for it. I say in a physical relationship, a person has to give 100%. 100% means I'll do just about anything I'll do anything you ask me to help you, to make you feel good, whatever it is. But for any relationship to work, it has to be 100% back in the physical reality. Now, if you give yourself to God 100%, God will grant you 100% back in this reality of what it deserves. But pain, suffering is only to keep you awake. If everything was sweet and rosy, you wouldn't be thinking about God, heaven, death, or any of those words. If death didn't exist, you wouldn't have any fear. The world would destroy itself much faster than it is right now. So as we play the game and we're looking at ourselves, I want you to think about why you're really here again. Go into that. Your concept of God is a programmed idea. Who wrote about God? Now, Hinduism was written about deities, and they use the word deities. The Mayans and the Aztecs used the words deities as well. But then they shifted to gods, G-O-D-S, a plural. Multiple gods. There is no such thing as a multiple God. God is God, and it's singular. And it's not the tree, it's not the car, it's not the battery, it's not the food you eat. If an apple was God and you ate it, you just become more of God. The perception of God is limited to Moses' programmed teaching. And in all religions, they use that frame, what Moses said in the beginning of the Bible. But go into these other religions, which I studied, like the Sumerian tablets, which is not my cup of tea. I don't believe it. Remember, they're written by people or aliens, whatever words you want to use. The same as the Amel tablets are the oldest tablet on this planet. There was 4 of them. Now, they were hidden under the pyramids. They found 1 of them. And that being so, the translation started, the same as the Sumerian tablets were translated, and other paths translated into what they wanted it to be. You got the Urantia, which came out much later. You got different, and now Muhammad wrote his thing from hanging out with the supposedly angel called Gabriel. Now, in the Bible, there's only 9 angels mentioned. All right. And if you're going to work with an angel, make up your own name at least. Because the most powerful angels are busy doing their thing. And it's not about helping one person that decides that they want to work with them. They work with who they want. Now, the twisted concept is about Lucifer. I have friends, they talk to shows, and everybody has to attack Lucifer for man's ignorance or self-destruction. All right. When we create, what are we creating in our life, in our reality? Anything important? Please, my email address is hawksblood1al.com. Send a text to me what you believe you're creating spiritual. Well, I'm a healer. Healing what? Can you heal disease? Oh, I channel God or I channel a spirit through me. It's a matter of taking a person's energy, whoever the person's working on, and reverting it back to them. Nobody has power over another person. You're not God. When you kill somebody, you're just killing this body that they play in. I'm getting pain in my eyes, sorry. You're killing this body. And when something like that happens, are you going to cry about it? You should be happy because now you're moving into, if you're aware state, into that. If you're not aware, you're moving into a place where you're not going to be for long. You're going to come back here. Even that experience didn't help you move forward. Awareness has to happen while you're becoming aware and alive. You don't become aware because you die. And I go into all that in detail, but I'm not going to do it now. But for me, as a person, I was always searching for the highest truth. Always. Always taught the highest truth that I knew, which wasn't much. I mean, being a preacher, a rabbi, and all those words, You know this much truth, that much, about spirit, about death, about God, about Lucifer. And what I want to get into a couple other things today. The word Lucifer. Lucifer is a powerful, high angel. He's called an archangel. And you heard the story, whether you want to believe him or not, how all these angels fell from the higher world, fell from grace. Well, they came down from the higher worlds because they were fighting. And that can't exist in the higher realms. And that's why little gods were created. And the little gods have the power over each realm that they dwell in. And you have to look at this from a realistic way, not my viewpoint. If you're in school, you don't go from kindergarten to high school and back into third grade. You take the steps from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then go into 9, 10, 11, 12. So when you're unfolding, you just can't go from one to the other. You have to work your way through each one. So if you have a world, and if you were playing whatever, a deity or a god, thinking you're a god, and you had this levels of putting people in, wouldn't you want to stop certain people from going into higher dimensions, higher realms? Some mass killer goes, well, I'm going to go to the highest plane and cause havoc there. Are you going to let that soul in? There's so many things that stop that. First off, again, karma is what keeps a soul to this physical world. Yes, I created karma, and here's the thing, I wasn't a killer. That karma keeps you from unfolding for a long period of time. It keeps you here, it keeps you in the hell. So when people say, well, I'm in hell, I don't want to go to hell, they're probably already in it, meaning they killed somebody. Now, it killed a couple people. Is it any more? No, it's still killing. It's going against the grain of soul. Now, if you're forced to go to war, is that justified? Of course not. Nothing justifies killing. I know, I've been there, I've done it. I mean, I didn't kill people, but I was close to and wanted to. But it was out of anger. Anger, which is what destroys mankind, takes you out of any level that you're in. I'm a high-dimensional being. Get angry and you can kill somebody. So the desire to move forward and become aware is so critically important. The soul step moving forward. So as we take this giant step and we become aware of who we are, what does it mean to you? How important what you do, what you eat, where you go, are they important or are they? How many children you want to have, how many relationships you want to go through. We put attention on things, usually physical. I don't hear people talking about wanting to understand soul, death, and where they're going to be, or things like that. We all create that belief for ourselves until we experience it. And you need that experience in your life. When you have it, you'll take the first step, moving away from the programmed mind consciousness to an awareness, and the awareness of soul. I mean, sure, there's multiple beliefs on that we're all one consciousness. Well, you can say you're one with a consciousness, but you have your own experience and you create your own experience and you can keep creating them in the higher worlds and higher realms. And once you let go of the body and you let go of the astral body, you are facing the true light body. Even that changes. Because as you get into the higher realms, the light is more light and is less physical reality as what you can perceive, like a face, eyes, a mouth. I mean, sex drops off after the third realm because you're not male or female. So the concept, it's separations of man's level to understand what he's experiencing. And I'll tell you straight out, I had 5 death experiences. Each one gave me so much more information and understanding. But I listened to the people that had a death experience. And they're limited to the mind because the mind will always translate that into something physical. Well, I saw an angel. I saw my mother. I saw Jesus. I saw God. All right. But here's the thing. If I took you as a baby and put you in Russia, would you be able to move around and know where you're going? Of course not. So when you get into a higher realm and you're aware, you can see things and learn things that you cannot perceive with the physical mind, because the mind is programmed. The experience is out of it. When you do drugs, allows the mind to be shut down for a while, and soul can actually be aware of itself. But soul does not stay in a body that's out of control. So it's not connected to the mind at that point. But when it comes back into the body, mind will give it a program of what really happened in its own thinking, but it's not what truly happened. And I'll tell you over and over, I listened to thousands of people that had talked about their so-called past life. And I have no clue what really happened. Well, I met my mother and she told me to come back home. I met Jesus and he said, come back down here. Well, I can go, that's like super lies, because people die, family, they don't become angels. They don't become super beings. They don't become totally aware at all. They're not your bodyguard. And sadly, most of the psychics program people to believe that. And I worked with ghost spirits and stuff when I was young, and they get stuck here or they get attached. Now, too much attachment in the astral world doesn't allow you to stay there. You have to come back. And that's not even about karma. It's a form of karma, and it's called attachment. So when you're attached to the physical world, there's no way you're going to get to stay in the astral plane. You let go of the physical world, but you can't be attached to the ideas of what you're going to get in the astral plane. Like, I'm going to be with my mother, my father. Again, it's still an attachment that has to be broken. Attached to life, well, I want to live forever. Why? Is there anything so fantastic, outrageous here that you really, really, truly desire to be with constantly? Well, I love working with a cow. I love working with my cat. I love playing with my dogs, whatever. Or I love my children. But they get old. And if you were living here forever, you would see them die as well. Realize there's, I would call them safety points that God created for soul. So that it doesn't need to go through certain experiences. Oh, you don't have every experience, especially if you know you don't need them. Some people have to go through the experience of death because they want to come back. Okay. But the reason that experience, like sticking your hand in fire thousands of times, why would you want to do that? You think you would learn from the first time you stuck your hand in fire that you wouldn't have to do it again. I became a fire dancer. I learned the connection with fire. That's something totally different. So when you deal with things that man deals with, it's always the mind program that deals with it in a certain way. Now, I was just writing letters to Mr. Walsh, Conversation with God, and he says a lot of things. And I said, we come here, we think this, we think that, we believe that. He says he's a liar. Well, if you know you're a liar, don't you think you would change that? Lie to people? Why would you lie to people? I can only give you my ultimate truth that I experience and know. But I will not give you a bunch of lies to make it sound good or to make money. So when we play this game, which we all do, because we stay here, and until we leave, we have to play the game. You have to eat. I mean, you don't have to do a lot of things. You can do drugs, you can do this, you can do that. But you have to eat, you have to drink. You don't have to have sex, you don't have to get married, you don't have to do a lot of things. You could walk around in the jungle, you can do a lot of different things. But those two things you have to. And you don't do that when you leave this physical body. I mean, on the astral plane, you can eat if you want to, but you don't have to. You're not going to change the form that you're in. You pick a body. Let me just go into that real fast, because most people might not understand that or even talk about it. When you die, soul leaves this body. And in the astral body, you got a different body. But you pick the age you want to be in. And I'm telling you, the age is 25 to 35, usually. I'm finding some people that want to be the same age, 60, 50, or they want to be young, I said, you definitely don't want to be a 2-year-old in the astral plane because you're not going to learn anything. It's not you get nursed and all those kind of things. You don't. Soul doesn't get born into the astral plane. It just moves into it. So that's why you take on the form of what you perceive that you want to be. Now that you can see, there's so many things that go beyond the limitation of mind. Well, I have to stay 35 forever. You can, but you should desire to leave the astral plane, not stay there. See, when things get better, people like it. Well, what they assume is better. And then they don't look forward to moving forward. If I took you out of a box and put you down on a beach, where would you rather be? On a beach or in a box? On a beach. But if I tell you the beach is it, this is it, you're going to believe that. And if I tell you that's heaven, you're going to believe you're in heaven on the beach. So the programming, man feeds itself, keeps it from seeing or understanding anything greater than itself. The idea, it's hard because religions and paths all deal differently with spirit, God, and universal energy and words like that, consciousness. Well, if I'm going to do a show, I wrote it up, I didn't do it yet, but on consciousness, the different Christ conscious, universal consciousness, world consciousness, and all the different definitions they have of it. They all mean different things, but really they don't mean anything pertaining to the truth. Christ consciousness, when people use that, really bugs me. Well, I'm attaining Christ consciousness. Do you know Christ? Do you know Jesus in any way? Well, the Bible said, because the Bible said something, you believe it's true, and you believe you're that level of awareness? I was in a religion, spiritual path, they call it spiritual, saying Jesus was, there's levels of awareness, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, up. But they said Jesus was a second initiate, meaning on a scale of 1 to 10, number 2. That being so, these people in their own movement say they attain 5th, 6th, and 7th, and 8th initiations. Well, obviously, the truth is they can't do one psychic ability. They don't know nothing about death, really. They never had a real experience with God, don't understand the higher realms of God. They read what they know, and they talk about what they read. Again, I tell you, you need to experience things for yourself. Most paths have no way to teach you that. They're teaching you programmed ideas that the mind's supposed to accept. Now, meditation is only one small part of taking a step forward. Meditation, without the rest of the steps, only relaxes the body. Well, you might want to do that. But if you want to become spiritually aware and move forward from there, there's techniques and things you got to add to the meditation that you're doing. I'm telling you the truth. I don't lie. I did it for many years. I spent 45 years of my life working that way. And, I call it my little shaman. For a word, I met a person, I don't know when my camera's going out, I had to fix his phone, and he had a gem store, key shop, and all kinds of things. But he was a little guy. That's why I call my little shaman. And we started talking, and I talked about leaving the body. And the first thing he said, well, you leave your body, why do you come back to it? At that point, I said, well, karma keeps us here. And I kind of made up all my scenarios of what I believed at that point. And then I realized one thing. I'm attached to leaving. And that's why I was leaving all the time. And I said, well, if I know that, I don't have to do it every day. And then I said, well, I'm here for a reason. Let me finish the reason why I'm here. But that awareness came through his words to me, which was, you can get your answers from people. And I just call him a shaman because he did give me the answer I was searching for, at least at that point. A death experience is critical. An out-of-body experience is just as critical, either way. Depending how long you stay in it is how much you can become aware of in that short period of time. I'm not saying you can do incredible things in a microsecond when you're out of the body. But if you're not aware, you're not going to retain any of that knowledge. So when the soul leaves the body, and you just go online, type somebody talking about their past life or near-death experience, more so, and you'll hear, well, I saw the light. I went through the light, and I saw my angel, and they said I shouldn't stay there, and they sent me back. 90% of people, that's all you hear. Not what they're experiencing, really. Oh, it was beautiful. What was beautiful? Where I was. Where were you? Oh, it was just incredible light. Okay, everybody talks about the light. Light is only the filter. And there's always something beyond the light. And you always have to look beyond the light or you'll never see the truth behind it. But getting back to the death experiences, these people come back in their body and the mind has to translate what they saw. You're standing in this garden of falling fish and butterflies swimming under the water. I mean, completely different reality, all right? How's the mind perceive that? Doesn't. What giant creatures running everywhere? The mind's not going to perceive that or understand it. It'll be afraid, it'll bring fear, it'll put a scrunch or squeeze it to the max where it won't understand it. So the mind creates an image. Well, if you saw something, well, it must have been my father. It must have been Jesus. It must have been this. What were they wearing? What kind of clothes did they have up there? What kind of shoes do they have? What do they actually eat up there? I mean, all those questions, very few people get into that at all. I'll tell you, they're all limited, but they're also not needed. You don't have to eat. You don't have to walk. You can fly, you can move, or bilocate. You can do anything you want because you're not in a solid body. More solid. Everything vibrates at every level. A solid piece of steel is vibrating. Just because we're not at a low enough level to see it vibrate, we can't perceive it. Like a magnet, which is amazing. Like if you put a magnet down and put a piece of paper over it and throw metal filings over it, you're going to see the magnetic field around it, which everything has. When you touch a person, when you go near a person, their aura, the magnetic field, affects yours. So when people say there's no right or wrong, you go into a bar, you go into this or that, you're stepping into these magnetic fields that affect yours. Take two magnets and they're going to pull on each other, no matter what kind of a magnet it is, little, big, or not. But if it's a bigger magnet, it'll pull you right out of your existence. So if you go into something with super high negative energy, you're going to get pulled into it unless you're aware and got your protection up. And there's all these things you need to learn before you get to the place of being able to use them. And the way I learned it, I already learned it in my other lifetimes, but I wasn't aware of holding on to it because I had to go through the experience, but I wasn't told what the experience was when I went through it, meaning what to do and how to do it. Now, I'm not going to, just to show you, I crossed 45 souls over. Didn't know what I was doing. Stopped my brother from getting abducted. Didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't told. I became a witch. I like the word witch rather than warlock. But man gives it the female male thing. Well, spirit energy is just that. So we put labels on everything. We have to. Mankind, that's what they think. Turning up my eyes, turning white. Well, as we move in this world, we're creating this delusional idea of what everything is, not the truth. And the more I listen to people speaking out there, no matter how spiritual they say they are, how religious they say they are, or what aliens they say they are, what they were, or how they became a walk-in, whatever the definition, experiencer, meaning that they experience being with aliens all the time. Whatever the scenario is, it's twisted and it's a lie. Why? How can I say that? Ask a person, any person, to show you any kind of proof. Well, how do you have proof of something in the inner worlds? If you say you were this man in another lifetime or this woman, let's not go too far back in history. Let's go back to your last life. Go to the corner of a street. Look at the street sign. What did it say? Go to the store Pull up a newspaper. What did it say on the cover of the newspaper? Read it. Because when you come back to the present, you can say, well, I was there and I read the paper and it said a war starting for this war. It started somewhere, where, how, and everything. And you could prove it to yourself that was a real experience. All right. Now, the idea of pinpointing, well, was it my experience? Well, trying to get somebody else to have the exact same experience, you won't, because we all have our own experiences from the day one we come down here. When we leave, we don't go with anybody else. So it's not the same experience, because the karma you create within each experience determines how much more you unfold or won't. It gets more complex as you put your attention on physical reality, because then you're not perceiving anything that Spirit's trying to let you see or understand. Now, angels and guides, people say, well, they're not real, it's your higher imagination. Well, some work with people, higher angels, but that's not common. When everybody says they work with Michael and Gabriel, that's a lie. They're not here to work with the ignorant people. And why I say ignorant, because they're talking about God loves us, we hear this, and all those words are programmed ideas from man. Moses was the first person to create our reality, and Jesus' reality is not what was being taught by him. And everything that was written that he said he was supposed to have said was rewritten by man. It's not like they had a tape recorder and tape record what Jesus said. But then again, what Jesus taught to his disciples was not what he taught to the people on the street. Army people don't go around the street teaching people how to kill each other. They tell people how to, what? They don't teach people. So to think that Jesus was teaching about compassion and love, can anybody teach love today? Can teach you how to go through the problems you go through love, but can he teach you love? How to love? Or you got to love them more. How do you tell somebody? You tell them, but how do they learn? How do they learn to love somebody more? By the feelings they grow with when they're with the person that they love. Now, on compassion, well, that's something we all have to learn within ourselves. I mean, if somebody's beating you up, do you have to have compassion for that person? Some paths say yes. But I'll tell you, it's not about compassion. You can be compassionate to the whole planet. Is it going to save the planet? Of course not. And that's why I attack the word unconditional love. Well, I love you under any conditions. Do you really? And who are you going to send that love to? Somebody you love, hopefully, and they love you back. Because if you're sending it to the world's not going to perceive it. And it's not going to help the world. Think about how many prayed, or how many prayed for this, and how many prayed for that. Is any of it happening? No. We're so far away from world peace, which we can't go into, or complete compassion and those ideas of that kind of reality. Now, I'm going to just throw in some other thing real fast as we go along here. Can you hear me all right? I hope so. Where do I got my volume? Hold on. Oh, man. I put it down so low. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you heard it. I'll have to play this back and see if I can hear it. But when we add aliens into the picture, we got a whole new step to step in. Now I'm afraid that I didn't hear the whole thing. Oh, all right. As long as you can hear the volume, I was just kind of worried because I had it down. But I guess it automatically turns it up. But now, when I talk about aliens coming into our reality, which they did, and they affected us greatly. Now, do you think that's God's plan? Do you think it's a deity's plan or an angel's plan to do that? How they interfere or affect us? We as a being, as a person, and that has a soul that we really are, have the ability to create what we desire for soul to go into. Not the body, because the body is not going to do much different. It's not going to grow wings. It's not going to just fly through space, jump 10 feet up in the air, or go 100 feet up in the air. It's going to do what the foundation laws of this physical world are. All right. When you go beyond that, and you take a giant step into the consciousness idea when you step out of the body. You suddenly perceive you don't have a limit to where you can jump, how far you can run, or things like that, or how you can travel from one place to another. Now, there is a limit to the body and to the astral body. Something only one person I'm sorry, my eyes are really bugging me. There's chemicals being sprayed here in Hawaii all the time. But we travel as far as we want in time. I mean, not time, but the time that we're here is different than the time that we're there in your astral body or your other bodies. Time changes in each realm that you go to, meaning that's how much more time you'll spend in that reality. Like 100 years here is 1,000 times a year on the astral plane. And 1,000 times years on the astral plane is like 100,000 on the mental plane, or much more. And then it gets greater as you get up all the way into the soul plane. You can spend billions of years there, but time doesn't relate to the same clock that relates to us in the physical. But when you go into those realms, you do that much more when you get there. And that's hard to explain until you experience it. So don't expect to experience the soul plane until you can get into the astral plane. And don't expect to experience anything further than that until you link up with your guides and your angels that help you get further than that and help you really learn how to get around there. God itself wasn't ignorant, stupid, mentally disturbed, or whatever words you want to use, because people give it that definition. You think God created violence and crime and murder and rape and all those things? Man did. Give man freedom and he'll destroy reality. So I say with complete programming, it keeps man in a specific reality, which is good for this planet. If you call planet hell, good. But if you want to get out of that, get out of the crime, the pain, the suffering, the astral body is the perfect place to be. But if you want to understand God, you got to get past the astral plane. There's multiple things people can't talk about. I spent my whole life traveling in the world, dealing with gods, deities, angels. I call them little gods, sorry, and God itself. That's different. Did I have a conversation with God like somebody else said? Not the same thing. Perception of it, it doesn't have a voice box to talk in physical language. Doesn't need to. It's beyond that. Like I said, in Atlantis, we were beyond that, and we lost that ability because mankind started abusing everything after Atlantis went down. The abilities they had were all taken away. The only abilities, I mean, deja vu, clairvoyancy, psychic readings, and all that, it's only limited to the astral plane, where the Emerald Tablets, I don't know if you heard of them, what it means. It explains that, but there's a place in the astral plane where you can go to call the Akashic Records. But that's only for the astral plane and the physical. It has nothing to do with where you're going to go in the future from there up in the higher realms. It'll tell you everything you do in the astral plane if you're going to be there. Now, I'm not saying that's a goal. The goal is to get to the highest place before you leave this world. Because if you get to the astral plane or the mental plane, you're going to want to stay there. Because it's 1,000 times better than here. If you were living in, I don't want to phrase it for tribal people, but you were living in a cave, no lights, and you get put in this beautiful village with all these beautiful lights and multiple kinds of food and everything. Where would you rather be, in the cave or where the light and everything and the foods are? It makes sense. The greater the things are, the more pull you'll have to get there. If you're shown anything of the mental plane, you're going to want to go there. And you're going to work really hard to get there. If you're shown anything beyond that, you're going to work every which way to get there. And it's understanding karma to be able to pay it off. And seriously, I'll tell you, there's nothing that I have perceived, seen, or shown, or even possibly proven that somebody could work off killing as karma in this lifetime. I mean, in Revelations, it says you can't. You're not forgiven because you say, well, I did 10,000 Hail Marys or 1,000,000 Hail Marys. or just say you're sorry. That doesn't get rid of it. Simply, I'm going to cut this off today, but if you kill somebody, you went outside, somebody was stealing your garbage can, and you stabbed them and killed them. All right? That act meant you lost control and actually forced soul out of the body. And usually when that happens, a deity will use your body during that time frame. They're going to love to do something bad. It's not like the mind's perceiving bad. It doesn't know. It's only doing what it's already programmed to do. Defend yourself. Kill. Depending on the programs. I mean, well, you have to just sit there and watch it or take it. So all those little things, leave it up to you to make that decision. But under distress, under anger, mind can't think. And soul is separate. So soul can't feed the mind anything important. So it steps out of the body and allows whatever happened to happen. Car crash, killing, whatever it is. So there's a point where you have to realize that you're responsible for that. Keeping control of the body, sometimes, and I'll say, this is what I went through in my life. Certain situations say, I'll give everything up that I attained just to get even, just to try to make this right. In relationships, which is the way I went through them, and really wanted to kill somebody and things like that. So, yeah, it was up to spirit that actually protected me, not me becoming aware. Spirit, when you're working with it, can protect you, not your mother and father, not your deceased children or anything like that, but your actual angels. And there's always at least 2 angels for every person that opens up to them. And then you start getting the things protected for you. I mean, I should have been dead 1,000 times over already. And I'm not. I mean, I got a couple of serious problems right now. My x-rays come in Monday. I'll see how bad that is. So I take it. God gives me what I deserve. Period. Good, bad, or indifferent. I know when I create instant karma, it's easy to create instant karma. John sang that song, Instant Karma is going to get you. People love to do it without the awareness. I'm aware of it. If I say something stupid and I know it, it's going to happen. Because I didn't stop it or I didn't change the viewpoint on that. You're walking down a street and you see the street light turns yellow. Or you're in a car and you see the street light turn yellow. 2 things. One says step on the gas and the other one says step on the brake. There's that choice always. And you can always make the better decision by listening to soul than mind. And they each have their own place. If you listen to the one or the other for a whole week, or maybe 2 weeks, just to make sure, you'll know which is the one that you always have to listen to in an emergency. Always. It won't put you in the wrong place ever. It'll put you in the best place to be during whatever the situation is going to be. Like I said, if the light's turning yellow and your mind says floor it, and then the other one says no, step on the brake, and you floor it and bam, you hit a car. You'll learn real fast. I guess I listened to the wrong one. But here's the way it works. You always get 2 thoughts. For me, the first one's always soul. The second one's always mind. But it could be reversed. Some people say it's always the second one. Because the mind jumps in and says, do this, and soul says, oh, no, wait, don't do that. But that you have to learn. And it takes you a couple weeks. But in a couple weeks, you will know how to listen to yourself. And that's real critical in life, no matter what you do. And, sometimes I slip and it says, oh, put your glasses on. I say, I'll put them on later. And bam, something replies right in my eye within 2 seconds if I don't put the glasses on. So it's simple little things all the time, or they can turn into super big things that'll protect you. So there's these little things that we need to learn. Is it my delusional ideas? No. Walk the street. When you get the feeling not to go down that block, you try not to. I I mean, some people don't get on a plane and the plane crashes. Well, I really felt I shouldn't get on. So listening to soul and not the mind. And then people say, well, listen to the one consciousness. Consciousness doesn't care what you do. If it did, we all wouldn't be killing and raping and abusing each other. So to be part of something that's ignorant is ignorance. If consciousness, if you tuned into it, made everything you do pure and of the light, maybe I would think about moving into that and staying in that. But as long as it allows people to be ignorant in any tribe, any religion, any path, the crimes are committed by the highest supposedly spiritual people. Why is that? Why were the most spiritual people killed? There's two reasons. If they're killed, they're because they're telling the truth. If they're not killed, they're telling lies. People like lies. And I'm gonna kind of cut it short because it's really getting late. I should be sleeping. I got to go into my dream world and figure out some things and do some things in there, which is a cool thing to work on. Well, I'm going to do one on dreams maybe in the next couple of days. I'm still doing a show with TJ Morris. I'll be doing it Tuesdays with Tina Bird. She's not experienced, an abductee for many times. And it's interesting. And I take questions and I feel that people need to hear a little more truth, hers and mine, about that. So please, I got a couple things going on. I'm looking for anybody that wants to help out in different ways. I'm not just talking about money, ideas and things, but I'm going to be doing a workshop. I think I wrote it down where I want to do the show on because it's only like $50 to do a workshop for the month. So, I mean, $50 for 100 people, it's $100 for 200 people. How many people do I want to come? How many do I want to allow to come if they want to come? But you know, when you talk about truth, what's the topic? Truth, I can't use that word. They don't want to hear it. Well, what's the real truth? If I say alien truth, they'll listen because they want to know what aliens are doing, assuming that somebody else knows their truth, which nobody does. Or very few people do. Very few people will talk about it. And when a person is abducted, you think an alien's going to tell them that? I don't think so. I call it mind programming, which aliens do to everybody they abduct. So that's a whole different topic. I don't want to go there. I'm just glad you tuned in today, whoever listens to this. Hope you got something out of it. Remember, this is about you, your experience, and what's going to help you get to your next level of awareness. Awareness is important, and keeping that is just as important. Now, you could be aware of a lot of things and die, and you're going to reincarnate because you didn't become aware of the right things. And the right things are what is soul, what you are, what is spirit, and what is God. I talk a lot about Jesus because he was the only being that I know all through history that taught about that part. Nobody teaches about God. Moses didn't teach about God. His laws don't pertain to God. His laws don't pertain to spiritual. And going to church, even that is not a spiritual definition of spirit. So concept and perceptions are so twisted through man's ego. So when you break beyond that, I know things and I experience things. I can only tell you them, hoping that it'll give you an idea and a suggestion for you to maybe, hey, I'd like to have that kind of experience, which a lot of people say to me. I say, well, here's the simple steps you got to do it. And it only takes you 30 days. If you commit to 30 days, I promise you, you'll have your first experience. It might not be the greatest one, but it'll start opening the door for you to have your next one. Spiritual growth is a slow process for most people. Really slow process for most everybody else. And the real lucky ones, and I'll say I was lucky, it happens rather instantly fast. I'll get into that one other day, but it's really late. And like I said, I don't want to put too much in your thinking, because are you going to remember anything I said so far? Are you going to do what I asked you to say in the beginning? Why are you here? What's your desire? What is God? What is death? Think about those things. How many people are going to answer them for you? What death is? Well, we don't die. How do you know? If you're not aware of all your other lifetimes, how do you know you're not dead? How do you know you're not dreaming? How do you even know you're here? How do you know you're not somebody else's dream? There's a lot of stupid ideas I can throw at you just to help you think about where you are in your own consciousness right now, of what you think and believe, what's true, the consciousness that's telling you whatever you believe is true. It relies on one thing: experience. And only an experienced person, through experiences, can give you the truth about experiences. I mean, I could write 10,000 books about catching butterflies. If I never went out and caught a butterfly, what good is my truth? It's just ideas. If you watch Ancient Aliens, you got 4 big name people saying, well, I think this is what it is. I think? Who cares what you think? Do you think God's real or not? Do you know what God is? Do you know God? Knowing versus thinking are 2 separate entities. One's really detrimental to you, one's very beneficial to you. So it's up to you to choose in this lifetime. Do you want to follow aliens? Do you really think aliens can come down here and teach us anything important? Our farming was incredible, and it's getting worse and worse every single day. So doesn't that sound like a bad thing? It sure is. But man has this egotistical idea of who they think they are, what they have the right to do. Fracking, horrible thing to the planet. Chemtrails, horrible thing to the planet. Geothermal, horrible thing to the planet. Creating solar energy, and it's not really as good as you believe it to be. I'm not going to get into it, but there's things that all affect a lot of things, especially the way you're going to live. And if you don't like the way it is, you need to be involved to change it. Are you ready? Are you willing? I mean, I'm hardcore. I don't need to hear other people's theories and ideas. I know the truth of what I know. The saying is, I know the truth of what I know is what I know, not what I don't know. I admit I don't know. I mean, there's very little that I don't know. But without the experience, I wouldn't be able to say that. Those experiences I had showed and proved to me the total reality of certain things. And it's not just standing in front of an angel. Oh, you're dead. Well, seeing all your lifetimes, knowing all your lifetimes changes everything. Because if you're going to do it all over again, you're going to forget them. But if you're able to see them all now, you'll be able to retain that awareness. But like in a dream, you have 10, 20, 100 dreams in the night. And you wake up, usually you remember the last 1 or 2. You don't remember 100. But if you set a clock, and I'm going off again. If I set a clock, or you set a clock, every half hour to wake you up, you'll be in a different dream. Until you learn how to do that. I mean, there's techniques to work with techniques to help you get closer and find the truth that you're searching for. And if you're not searching for anything, you don't need to listen to me. You don't need to listen to anybody. You don't need to follow anybody either. You just want to make money. Be happy. All right, with that, it was a pleasure. Glad you stayed. Hold on, I think there's one more question. I need my glasses. I can't read it. Where'd they go? They disappeared. Amazing. I didn't go too far from my computer. Well, thank you for the comments. Please, questions, personal questions, you can email me, Hawksblood1, HAWKSBLOOD1, AOL.com. All right, I answer all my mail, good or bad, indifferent. But I'm a hardcore person. I challenge people out there, everybody that's speaking in the UFO world, every spiritualist, every so-called religionist person. I challenge them. Because you put false truth out there, people will get programmed to believe that everything's going to be okay. We have not been okay for the past 20 years. We haven't been okay for the past 1,000 years. We haven't been okay for the past 20,000 years. I'm going to be okay anytime soon. And who's going to make it good? Trump? The Pope? The Dalai Lama? The Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra? Are they going to make the world a better place? Donald Walsh says, well, I'm going to change the world and make it better. Well, you're in hell. And I just wrote him a letter and I said, how many people are you going to touch in your lifetime? 10 million? 50 million? And if you're lucky, 100 million? But guess what? Jesus in his lifetime and to now touched 200, let me get the number right, 2.4 billion people. Muhammad touched 2 billion people. And that's like a little more than a third of the population of the whole planet. And then you got like 2,000 religions to split among the rest of it. Hinduism is number 4. Buddhism is number 4, sorry. So you can break it down, then you come all these other religions that get splintered off into that. So we have a lot to learn, a lot to do. And it's not about building a bigger house, getting a better job. But I will tell you, last words, last thought. Find something you feel is important that you like. Whatever that is, try to make that your job in life. Because then you'll have a happier life. You'll be doing what you want to do. If you set it on money, you'll never find happiness. Ever. Unless you say, do like some people do, they stare at people and people send them money. That's cool. I go around and just stare at people. That's so cool. I don't even have to talk. Imagine I just gotta go. And people say they get healed. Conditioning, programming, get 2 people to say something, it spreads to a group more and it becomes reality and more people accept it. Well, with that, peace, love, light, whatever you need for the night, day, it's 11 p.m. at nighttime for me in Hawaii. Wherever you are, sleep good, wake up, enjoy your life, get what you can out of it. Always look for the truth, your truth, nobody else's. Peace, till next time. Hawksblood 1 here, AOL.com.